the dreaded outcome for the little champ that robs us all, and it dominates the 360 agenda.
As the shoulder come out, so too may have the Brownlow Medal, boys.
And that's precisely what's come to pass. Gary Ablett concedes to surgery, prematurely ending an already glorious season. So Gold Coast faces up to the tougher reality in the quests for an inaugural finals berth. Coach Guy McKenna will chat with us shortly. And how vulnerable is Collingwood? The next fortnight might determine their fates. King and McClure forecast what that might be. I'm Gerard Waitley, here's Mark Robinson. This Wednesday night, it's footy from all angles. Hello, Robbo.
Hello, Gerard.
Nice to have you back here.
Did you miss me?
Yes, it's been a busy time, though, hasn't it?
Hutto wasn't any good?
No, Hutto was, he was good. It's our best chance to catch up during the school holidays. Just live on telly for an hour.
Did you talk about the kids again like you did last time?
Yes, we did.
On air?
Yep. That's sort of part of. That's a big part of our lives.
I'm sure it is. I was down at the tribunal.
You were?
Did you know that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was an interesting night. I haven't checked yet, but we are talking about that. Item number 2.
We're going to reminisce with the Hawks a little bit too. 25 years on from back-to-back flags.
Who have we got in?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to let them arrive. You'll be happy.
We've got actually people coming in.
Yes, we do. A Wednesday love.
You got me thinking about Hawthorn for a second. I should know this stuff. My Wednesday love is Eddie Betts. My Wednesday love is Eddie Betts. Couple of reasons. No one calls him Eddie. No one calls him Betts. It's always Eddie Betts. Do you call him Eddie Betts when you're commentating?
Yes.
Why?
It's just one of those things. These are the things that the could-have-beens fixate on.
Yeah, I do.
Some names that require the full name.
Because I went for a love tonight, it was already been taken by someone else later in the show, so I had to think of someone else. And I was talking to Johnny Ralph at work today. He's doing a big feature on Eddie Betts, and I said, why do we keep calling him Eddie Betts? So I thought I'd ring up and say I love Eddie. And then I started looking at his season. I always thought he was getting overpaid when he went there. He's kicked 33 goals, same as Ballantyne. I had Ballantyne as a love twice in 4 weeks. And I just think this guy he's class. He's all-Australian contention. And I just think he's great. Eddie Betts.
Nice.
What's your love?
Oh, I love Bob Murphy's writing, and particularly today about his teammate, or his former teammate now, Tom Williams. So in a column that will appear in The Age tomorrow, Bob's paid tribute to a man who's done it the hard way. He's written, "This game is brutal, both on the body and on the heart. In that regard, no one has walked a more painful football path in my time at the Bulldogs than Tom Williams. Tom left a big chunk of his soul at our club. When players endure such a wretched run of bad luck through injury, their resilience to keep coming back despite the hits puts them in the hearts of everyone they played alongside." And if you think about the journey of Tom Williams, who was taken between Lance Franklin and Jordan Lewis, he was the pick in the middle there, and in 10 seasons he played only 85 games. He played 7 this season, and to see him a couple of times was to probably forecast from the outside that he'd lost faith that he could still do it. And then his last game will go down as round 12, as he's finally conceded to a body which just could never quite stand up for him and give him that chance that we all hope that every player gets.
No doubt, and it was a very, very good piece by Bob. He takes us inside the club very, very well, doesn't he?
Yep. He's a writer trapped in a footballer's body.
He might work for us next year, the Herald Sun. Anyway, let's get on to Gaz.
Okay, top of the agenda is the premature end to Gary Ablett's season. It felt last night that the torturous decision that was facing Ablett had been stretched on long enough to have a slightly ominous tone about it. And about lunchtime today, that came to fruition when it was declared that Ablett would have immediate reconstructive surgery and won't be seen again in 2014.
Dirty shoulder, Gary Ablett. He's popped the shoulder out at the moment.
Actually, it's sitting out.
That's a serious shoulder injury. He's dislocated that shoulder.
It's sitting out. That's not good.
And he's surrounded by 2 or 3 trainers, and now he's coming off. They're just trying to hold that arm or the wrist. It's not good. In place. Gary Ablett in trouble.
He is wincing in pain. He's attended to by 3 trainers, Gary Ablett. He's not got it back in. Gone for the night.
Could be the end of Gary Ablett for today, and maybe for a long period of time.
Gary has decided in consultation with our medical team to undergo a reconstruction on his left shoulder. difficult decision for Gary and our medical team, but one we think we've taken enough time with. I guess from Gary's point of view, he'd love to be part of the last third of the season to potentially play in our first finals team. So from Gary's point of view, it's a fairly unselfish approach to make sure that he looks after himself, to ensure that he's back ready to do a pre-season and be with his teammates to, I guess, hopefully look forward to an even bigger and brighter 2015.
Ablett's words were restricted to those in the statement issued by the Suns. He reflected, "We have been extremely thorough in our review of the injury, and after careful consultation, reconstructive surgery was the decision to make, but the correct one. This is the most significant injury of my playing career, and we have made the decision in the interest of my long-term playing career, and it has been a very difficult decision, in particular as there is a temptation to compromise my shoulder's long-term movement in a bid to get back and assist the team to make our first finals appearance." When it landed, Robbo, it doesn't just land for Suns fans or for teammates or for the coaching staff. It lands on everybody.
It does. It lands on the game. It lands on the history of the game as well, Jared. There's a lot of things we talk about, Gaz, and the first thing I think of is he's the best player of his generation. He's the best player in the competition for the last 7 years. And the Brownlow Medal, I cannot get past the Brownlow Medal at the moment in my thinking. It's a team sport, and we'll talk to Guy McKenna soon about how they adapt and who stands up, and that's really important. But right now, today, I've looked at for tomorrow's paper, Jared, what a third Brownlow Medal means to Gary and means to the history of the game, and I've gone through all his medals and how unlucky and lucky and whatever. He deserves to be a great, and we put greatness under triple Brownlow medals, and there's only 4 of them in the history of the game. 2 of them are dead. I didn't see the other 2 play, Stewie and Bob Skilton. So I think when he went down, I used the word shudder. On Monday I said it was a shudder, and I felt the same again today. Even though I was expecting it, when it come through and it said Gary's out for the season, I went, oh no. I was not sad, but I thought, oh, that's not good news.
Everything's just a little lesser in 2014 as a result of it for me.
That said, when we get to Brownlow Medal night, Jerry...
Well, it could provide an outrageous sort of thrill. But
do you work on the Brownlow Medal?
Only with you.
Oh, we do too.
We enjoy it together after that. We'll talk a little bit more Brownlow in a moment. But Guy McKenna is with us, the Gold Coast coach. Guy, welcome to AFL 360.
Well, boys, apparently by the bookies it's all over already, isn't it, the Brownlow?
Oh, if only had... well, I suppose we'll know one day what the lead is, but we won't quite know now. Just on his side of things first, Guy, there was every selfish reason in the world to continue on and try to get back for whatever he could in this season. How would you categorise this decision on the lines of being a selfless one?
Yeah, well, it's right up there, Jared. I heard you boys talk about the Brownlow, and that's the thing. I reckon the big driver for him was the fact that he's the 17th club to join the AFL, potentially a chance to play in his first final game, and he as captain ain't going to be there given what he's been able to do on and off the field for us. So that was the big motivation. That's probably why I reckon his decision was delayed. But, I mean, you go through the surgeons, you go through our medical staff, you go through the best people we can throw at Gary, and when you hear, there's an 80% chance it's going to come out again, and given, how he plays, where he plays, and his ability to get off taggers with that push and shove action, I mean, it was probably a recipe for disaster going forward. So, look, as I said, he's made one big call, I think, in his future or in his career to come up here and start a new career, if you like, for the Gold Coast Suns. And, you certainly made another big one, but for all the right reasons.
No, phenomenal. Of course he wants to play in the finals. I know that, Bluey. I want to ask you, what's it take you to the moment? What were your thoughts? When did you realise there was something in trouble? And second, and I've been contacted by footy people, I won't say who, footy people, and they've been asking me, did you think it was a sling tackle? And I thought, oh, no, I don't. It was a bruising tackle. It was a hard tackle, but I didn't think it was a tackle not unexpected in the way football is playing today. Could you answer those 2 questions, please?
Oh, yeah, I certainly didn't. I mean, Caff plays the game hard and tackles hard and all those type of things. I mean, Gary probably just exposed himself because that's Gary. I mean, under that sort of duress, pressure, tackle pressure, he's still able to get his hands free and then start looking for
He's
someone.
still got the handball away, Bluey.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing.
And then because of the strength of him, that was then led on to the next part was trying to get the arm in. No, the reason if there was any animation by me and my medical staff will know this, where we're coming from, we just can't operate when we only got 17 blokes that are able joining in the football game. So my angst was about just getting the stretcher out there, stop the game, let's go and help him off if we possibly can and just stop the game. That was more my angst. And then, probably then because of the moment and the game, we know it's Gary, but, all good sides, we have to operate as a team more so than an individual. Yes, it is Gary. We know what he adds to our group, but you can't deal with that. He's injured. He's being assessed. We probably don't think he's going to come on, initially for that quarter, and then you get the message that he's out. Well, he's out. Well, that's it. Well, we've now got 21 players. We have to do our best to get through the rest of this game and obviously try and win the game. So, to me, that was the proudest part of me is obviously the group getting through and winning that game. But, yes, it's unfortunate. We'd dearly love to have Gary available and playing, but he's not. The line in the sand's been drawn, and we start looking forward to the rest of the season and the opportunity that now lies await for the rest of the group.
The brutality of sport there in a moment. You couldn't get him off the ground quick enough because you were down a player for, a minute and a half as you walked from the other wing to this side of the ground. Second thing, how quickly did you have to address, or when did you address with the players, OK, everyone, Gary's gone?
I'd say I'm old-fashioned, and probably because of our group, Robbo. I didn't even mention it I think it happened the end of the third quarter, so I didn't mention it at three-quarter time, and really it was only until after the game when the boys got together and sung the song with Gary. There was no mention. The message I said to the boys was probably just a reminder about my message to them before the game about not letting your teammate down, and I made no mention about because I've never done it in the past about anyone, let's do it for, Nathan Bock, he's broken his leg or anything like that. I've made no mention about that.
What about, sorry, Blue, to interrupt, what about since we found out that Gary's not playing? I remember Mark Thompson talking to the team. He told us he spoke to the team when Joe Watson went down and spoke about different kinds of leadership. They need new leadership, more leadership from people who may not be exposed to that kind of leadership which is now required. Have you spoken to the group as a whole, past the emotion of the game in the cold hard light of the day, say, right, everyone, this is where we are. We need to step up. We need to find more responsibilities.
Well, I probably did that in some way or shape or form tonight or today, Robbo, at our main training session. We have a little a thing we do for, for 50 gamers. It was Stephen May's 50th game. I normally get the captain to go and give him his jumper, and we have some towels that we hand over, different coloured towels for different milestones. We have the blue towels, we have the red towels for anyone that plays. We then go to blue towels for the blokes that have played 50 games. And now, up at this stage, I think we've got 12 blokes using blue towels at the moment. So it was Stephen May's, and normally I get the captain to do that. So I said to the boys, not so much about filling the void of Gary, but through the consultation with our 5 leaders, because Gary wasn't there, of course, he's down in Melbourne, but we announced to them that Michael Riscatelli would take it over because he's the oldest for this week. He then was put in by the other young leaders in Tom Lynch, Dion Prestia and David Swallow, that he should do it then for the remaining time that Gary was out, because at that stage we didn't actually know before training that Gary had made his decision on the surgery. And so I just thought that was fantastic, a show of respect, if you like, by those 3 young leaders. And then Michael Riscatelli's return serve was, I think it's a great opportunity for you blokes to experience it as well. So, in summary, we're going to rotate that. Tommy Lynch then spoke up. It should go from tallest to smallest. So he's going to be the next leader. So he'll captain the side against Brisbane, and then it will be David Swallow, Dion Prestia on a rotation basis until obviously we finish the season.
Everything with the Suns gets viewed through the prism of Ablett, and that's a blessing for the most part. That won't be the case now. Is your group ready, Guy, do you think, to slip out from under the shadow of Ablett?
Yeah, that's what that was probably an answer to Robbo's question. That's what I'm, looking for, mate. I've already seen. I mean, you could argue I saw a bit of that already on the Collingwood game because Az wasn't out there, and we had to fight with him down, and then eventually 3 others down, and have no rotations. But the boys found a way. So that was almost. I'm not saying it was a coming. Well, I did say it was a coming of age, but it's very small data, I know. But I've already seen it in Charlie Dixon, who got one of those nasty injuries on the night, but he's already got himself up and ready to play this week. So I'm already starting to see that extra sort of yards that the boys are prepared to go to fill the void of our captain. And and that's what I'm looking forward to. I think, as disappointed as we all are about missing out on Gary, and I think, as you say, from the prism of what we're viewed upon down in Melbourne and outside Queensland, I think the boys are certainly ready, and they're looking forward to that challenge and the opportunity for some of our younger players. Because yes, Gary's out of the centre square, for example. So Lonergan, Sexton, Jack Martin going in there. I mean, that's the opportunity for those boys. It's just going to be really exciting. And look, some of these boys are going to stand up, and it's going to be really exciting for us.
We will all watch and see as it evolves. Good on you, Guy. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Guy McKenna, the Suns coach, with us. We'll just close out with the Brownlow here, Robbo, and where things sit. I think there's this notion that he might be so far in front that he could hang on.
No one knows.
We've collected all the media awards that go 3, 2, 1 for every game, and this is how they sit. The Fox Footy Award here, Kennedy already has a share of the lead with him. The ABC Award, Kennedy's 3 behind. The biggest gap is in the Herald Sun. Ablett has a 7-vote lead. In the other radio stations, SEN, Ablett's only 3rd, and Kennedy's already leading.
SEN's got Ablett 3rd.
Champion Data has Ablett 5 votes clear, and 3AW has him 5 votes clear as well. So while notionally there might be that idea that he's got a runaway lead, it would be against everybody else's view if he was 12 or 14 clear.
Yeah, but that often happens, though, Jared.
I reckon the week by weeks are a really good guide as to how it sits, and this is what the Brownlow market is doing tonight. Ablett is an $8
Yeah, but every year, I know, it might be a great guide, Jared. We talk about the Brownlow every year for 12 years, and something strange happens. You know, Swanee has 34. I mean, strange things happen. The umpires might be looking at Gaz and say, you are the best player, you're getting more threes than what everyone else is given to him. We don't know. All I know is on the night, the suspense will be, has he got enough? I suspect not. 7 games of football to go. There's a lot of games to be played. Have you got your money on any? Did you bet on the Brownlow?
No, I don't. I will on the night because it helps pass the time.
You get bored of the Brownlow?
I reckon. No, it's good to have an active interest. But Ablett won't be winning this Brownlow the way it sits.
Which is a shame.
It is.
It is. I can't. And congratulations, whoever wins it, and you will have earned it. Because I don't want that to happen. If Pendlebury wins or Josh Kennedy wins, I don't want people to say, "Oh, let's put an asterisk there. Gary got hurt." That's not right. No. It's just bad luck for Gaz, and we move on.
All right, we will move on. The rest of the agenda. Let's reflect on last night's events with Brian Lake and how the football world and outside the football world has viewed this as either being too much or not enough. Lake himself managed this apology today on the Hawthorn website.
G'day Hawks fans. I just want to touch base after the last couple of days, which has been very tough for myself, my family, but also you guys, the supporters and members of our footy club. Those couple of minutes on Friday night is, if I had my time again, I definitely wouldn't have engaged in such a wrestle with Drew. I didn't mean to cause any harm to Drew, and thankfully that wasn't the case. Having 3 kids of my own, I know it's not a great look for the game of AFL football, and something definitely I don't want to be remembered for from my football career. Looking now, I've got 4 weeks to get myself even fitter, stronger, but also help the guys out as much as possible over this period. So when I get back, I hope you guys see a bigger and better Brian Lake. So once again, thank you guys for your support, and I can't wait to get back out there.
So that's Brian Lake today.
That's magnificent by Brian Lake. Made a bit of a snip at him this morning in the paper. I thought he should have apologised last night. It was a pretty intense tribunal, and he came out, and the cameras and everything was flashing, and you know, he was probably in a state of shock. But I think it's fantastic that Brian Lake has come out today and apologised and spoken about and apologised to Drew, apologised to the game, and understands today what a really, really bad look it was. He might not know this Jared, but this incident went around the world. And Australian Football League, the Australian was just getting bashed, saying, look at this, we've got one player strangling another. It was an interesting night, the way they argued. It was a believable argument, but it looked bad. The fist was through near the neck. What was shown last night, Jared, if I can just continue, he didn't grab him by the esophagus and squeeze. What he did is he twisted the jumper and twisted it, that's how I took it, and twisted it into the neck. Might be tin tacks. To me, it's not. To me, it's really important that he did have hold of the jumper and squeezed in. But again, it was an absolutely terrible look. And when they announced 4 weeks, I was neither shocked or disappointed.
Yep.
Some people were asking for 8.
Yeah.
Mate.
And some people are saying that 4 is way too many. I'm not sure I have any tolerance for that argument.
What did you?
I thought 3 + 1 for his record. That was my guess. And that's how it came back. And it was interesting that they went more than what the legal minds had asked for. And I thought that was a really good moment from a tribunal of former players to go, actually, this is outside the norm. So you can ask for 3. We're putting 4 on this. There's a premium on this because this doesn't belong on a football field. The struggle of Collingwood, Robbo, which we'll tag here and then we'll raise with David King and Mark McClure. They're right at the pointy end of things now, and their fate might be determined in the next fortnight in these matches against Essendon and Adelaide.
Not playing well enough. There's different circumstances that people want to go to, but fundamentally it comes back that we haven't had enough players in good enough form.
4-3. They've never seen the likes of this before at Metricon. This is off the scale. Record crowd. Biggest win ever, Gold Coast.
With our current form at the moment, we're nowhere near the top 4 with our current form. But with our form earlier in the year, we were. And as I said, it's got nothing to do with personnel. It's got to do with execution and going out and getting it done.
This would have the sourest taste it could possibly have.
We've got a lot of things that we're doing well. We've got a lot of things that we want to improve on, and that all goes into the mix. I mean, there's no magic solution. It's just hard work and doing the simple things well, and a lot better than we've been doing them in the recent history. But I can assure the fans of the club that we're leaving no stone unturned to make sure we get it right.
So not good enough and working really hard. They're the threads.
That's football.
It's absolutely what Buckley believes. He says it every week. If you're not paying attention...
It's a huge game of football. They got some serious issues. Collingwood, it's funny, they sit in 6th spot and we say they got serious issues. They desperately need Nick Maxwell back, and the next person who rings me or texts me or tweets me and says Nick Maxwell's not a good footballer, you just think back and what Nick Maxwell does to this defence. He's an incredible footballer. For the ability he was born with, Nick Maxwell is so badly missed. I said to you on Monday, I think Swanee's either carrying or he's just dropped away. Pendle's had a bad quarter. They need more support up the front for Travis. Travis didn't kick straight. So all these little things added up to a Collingwood loss. But Collingwood inside can say to themselves, they got beaten by 2 points and we had all this stuff go wrong. We weren't resilient at the end, but we've got some issues to work on.
Beams wasn't at training today, which you talk about shudders. Any absentee at the moment adds to the shuddering. There's an absentee for Essendon. We know Brendan Goddard's not going to be there. So with Watson out and Goddard out, the man who's stepped up is Dyson Heppel, and he stepped up for the media today.
Losing BJ as well, massive loss for the club. He's been in fantastic form, but it's going to give another guy a chance to come in and play his role for the side, and I'm really looking forward to the challenge. I don't feel I need to do anything special, and I feel we've got a good group of core midfielders that can take on the challenge. You certainly have a look where we are in the scheme of things, and obviously there's a group of 4 or 5 teams that are still a realistic chance, so it'd be good to stitch them up, I reckon.
We know who won't be there, and then there's one who we're not sure about. And you wrote about Dustin Fletcher in today's Herald Sun. It piqued my interest as to it had been assumed last week when he got dropped there was almost this wave of reassurance, but don't worry, he'll be playing on. Really? After he'd just been dropped?
I don't know about that.
And now we're not sure whether he's got a place in the team against Collingwood.
I'm not sure, Jared. Dustin Fletcher for 390 games, it's hard to spit out. He's been able to play tall and small, and then suddenly they haven't got a match-up for him. Now, Bomber Thompson unbelievably explained how they set up in the back half last week to combat Port Adelaide's, sort of ranging midfielders and forwards. Now, you go to Collingwood this week. Hibberd comes back in. He's an automatic. Last week, they had Winderlick on a back flank. Goddard's out. Do they move Winderlick back forward and push someone else in the midfield? Who knows? But what Essendon have done and what Bomber did last week was, right, we are in 10th spot. We've got to improve. We've got to improve. So they improved by putting some more run and more leadership in the back half. Now they said, right, who can we do without? For the first time for a long time, they said we can do without Dustin Fletcher. Yep. If they say the same thing this week, we can do without Dustin Fletcher. That's not saying he's finished or he's a bad player or anything like that. That just goes to show that the coach must have a chat to the icon at the Essendon Football Club right now, because how long does a person continue if he can't be in their plans? Does Dustin Fletcher play VFL? No. All right. So selection will be very interesting this week.
It's time for us to have a chat with David King and Mark McClure about the hot issues as they stand and about these teams who are looking to squeeze into the eights, how their prospects sit.
Can you be a cult figure with number 50 on your back?
Bastanek with a chance, over the top, Brown's going to get a goal, that's a good reply. Really important, that one. Celebrates Brownie. Got a bit going for him, young Ben Brown. He looks like a big shaggy dog, doesn't he?
Ben Brown for me was just a sensation tonight.
Could be in Scooby-Doo, I reckon, don't you? Scooby-Doo, where are you?
It's all the hair rather than the number, isn't it? David King, welcome.
G'day, boys.
Mark McClure, good to have you here.
Sellers.
It's a little bit more than just cult status with him, isn't it? Because he was influential.
He was terrific. I think I haven't seen a player like that excite me so quickly in a short space of time. And we were looking for a Jack Daw to become that player, but this kid's just as athletic as anyone. Got that real competitiveness about him. I think he could become a cult figure. I really do.
Can he stay number 50?
Oh, you can't stay number 50. It's just not on. He takes an 80-metre run up for his set shot goals. He's got the package.
Can he play? What do you see in him?
Yeah, he can play. He can definitely play. I think that they've lacked that extra target sellers, that centre-half forward that really presents hard, and he found really good holes and really good spots to drop into, and they trusted him. It's great.
And he gave some space to Drew as well. He pushed up the ground and pushed him up the ground. Majak Daw's finished. This bloke's in the side. They can't play Majak as well. He's over. Hasn't got the nous, hasn't got the clue about how to play as well as this kid. So I think Majak's in trouble. This kid's a beauty. Fantastic. And he could be the highest number of games in number 50 already. Mm-hmm. 2.
Who else is there?
I don't know. Who else is there?
Just before you joke about that, I want to ask you seriously. You don't think Majak will play again?
No. Not with this kid if he's up and going. Do you think Majak's better than him?
No,
he's not. So what you got to do is you got to make some hard decisions. This is a tough business. If you're not good enough, Majak has to go back to play in the VFL somewhere or go and play somewhere else to improve himself. He should go, because this kid's got the development that can get better.
All right, Misty Eyes, while you're in full swing here.
What's wrong with you, Misty Eyes?
Did you feel it when Gaz had to pull out of the rest of the season?
I think it's a good decision for him. I think it's great for his team too, because we'll now see what they can do without Gaz. We saw what they did in the last half. The last quarter was absolutely fantastic. I loved every second of it. And I'm just thinking at this stage that halfway through next year or next year, he will not be the best player in that team. They've got some stars.
It's going to be a good side.
They have got, and that's what you want. That's what you want. And in the final series might pull that out of them. So that's my thoughts about this. And Gary's not going to play because he's not right. And I think that's right.
I think the umpires retrospectively should go back and have a look at their votes in the first 15, 16 rounds.
See if they can bolster them.
See, the twos that were downgraded to 1, maybe just go back and trick them back up, because it'd be great theatre Brownlow night. I mean, this will be a bigger...
Do you think he's a chance still?
Absolutely, yeah. He'd be on mid-20s. He'd be on mid-20s.
Yeah, I think he'd be that high as well.
Have more theatre about Brownlow night this year than when Richo ran it to last round.
Could it hurt the Suns in the sense where we haven't spoken about it, Charlie Dixon and the other way. Trent McKenzie went down. They either stand up and we go, wow, what a great effort, or it hits them hard and they start stumbling. It can go either way.
Well, they got this midfield. I want to show you one kid that just showed another little glimpse on the weekend. They got Swallow, they got Prestia, they got O'Meara. But this kid, I just want to show you one bit of play, just to show you some absolute magic. Look at this kid, Jack Martin. Look at this little step here. Get out of the way, Gaz. I've got this. Gaz, get out of the way. I've got this covered. Bang. Left foot. Yeah. That is the play of a star. Not many players can do this. Can pirouette like that in traffic, in the heat of battle, game in the balance, and slice one through like that. He's going to get more exposure, this kid, and he's going to go bang.
Don't tell me with a good pre-season he's not going to be an absolute star next year, this kid.
Don't reckon he's seen too many weights just yet either.
They've got some good players.
Yeah. He has a go too, doesn't he?
He's a beauty.
Oh, he does.
The other constant of the week was Brian Lake and what ended up being the 4-week suspension. Mark, how did you read that?
Oh, well, it's pretty well easily read. Friday night we saw it. We clearly saw what happened. Friday night we saw the coach lambast him straight after the game. Saturday we saw Lewis gave it to him and then Hodge gave it to him. And then come Tuesday they come up with some concocted story that he grabbed his jumper. And I fight for mine. And then Drew comes out and gets his reprimand taken down, which shows that there was forced by the opposition. So you would read before he went in there that you can't come up with some silly story. The best thing he could have done was walk in there and say, plead, I am sorry, I did the wrong thing, and he might have got 3. He might have got 3. But why would they come up with some lane brain solicitor says we've got to go and say grab by the jumper? That's wrong. Totally wrong. He actually made himself worse by not telling the truth. So that's my big problem with it, and I think that Brian's got to help himself sometimes.
We don't know the cost of this just yet. The next 4 weeks will dictate what Brian Lake has cost them. He may have cost them a premiership, you know. He may have cost them a top 4 spot. He may have just cost them a top 2 spot. But if they miss the 4, that's it. That's it. You don't win it from 5th. I don't care what people say. You don't win it from 5th. And Brian Lake will be responsible if they slide out of the 4.
OK. As far as apologies go, Brendan McCartney was straight onto the front foot, the Bulldogs coach. He was of the view that he'd been too harsh on one of his young players.
There's possessions and then there's team accountability and there's defensive decision making which doesn't overload your teammates that you should make at the right time. He was actually lucky to stay on the side.
No, I was probably too honest. That's what I probably was. I'm normally a bit more guarded than that. More likely he'll keep playing and learning the game the way we'd prefer him to learn it, and we're confident that's happening, but yeah, I'm not sure I'll be quite as honest next time.
So Jackson McRae was the subject of both explanations.
He's a beauty. Look, one thing that they know is the kid can play. That's the hardest part. Get them in the front door, the ones that can actually play. I coached him for a couple of years, Sellers. That's why he's got probably half a dozen bad habits.
A couple of problems, yeah.
He's got some issues. But this kid come from nowhere. Like in his year 11 year, he was not even playing for Oakley. He was not even playing for the TAC side for Oakley. I mean, that is an amazing rise in 18 months to become pick 5 in the nation. No, he's on the learning. He's on a really quick learning curve, and Brendan knows that.
When Brendan spoke and you heard it, did you say he's right?
Yeah, he's right.
He's got to work on his defensive side.
Mate, like all guns, they come in, they want to influence games, they want to be the match winner. I just hope they don't beat that out of him. That he still needs to play with flair. He still needs to be creative. He still needs to see himself as the man, because that's why he's the player he is.
They won't beat it out of him. You know what, Brendan's just trying to make him better. That's all he's doing. And I thought it was great honesty.
I liked what he said in the first time.
So did I.
I didn't like the apology. Some people need to be told. And if it's not the coach telling them, the peers should be telling them. And that's one of the problems with Western Bulldogs. They're not strong enough with their peers. But that's okay. They'll be where they are.
All right, the road to September. We're going to work from 10 up.
Yeah.
Just revisit this and get on the record as we hit round 17.
Particularly bit narky tonight, going at players and clubs.
Playing with players.
Yeah.
It's a tough business, Rob. I don't know. Haven't you been bashed this week by everyone?
All right, let's start.
God, you are. You are a dead set.
You can't tell him anything in the pre-game.
You did walk into that, in all fairness.
Oh, crap. There's a certain level of trust when you say to someone on your team...
You do leak every now and then. I can bring up a couple of examples.
That's it.
Essendon up. All right, the Bombers have got a match that they must win.
Yeah.
They can level up with Collingwood here. They're going to have to do it the hard way. way, though,
No, Watson,
given that they
no
are
Goddard.
missing.
Those two are really important. They've got a pretty tough run home if you have a look at it. They'll beat Richmond, I think, and Western Bulldogs, I think they can beat. And they probably beat Carlton and GWS. Maybe they can beat one of those. They may lose one of those on the way through, but I can't see them. I think they can almost beat Collingwood. They can just get there. I reckon Collingwood are the ones that are in big trouble.
Just on Goddard, you're a bit narky with this.
Oh, look at the next 2 weeks. I mean, they had to challenge this. They had to challenge it because their season is Sunday. If they beat Collingwood, they put Collingwood under the acid that they need him to be under, and they go on level points. If he gets 2 weeks, he gets 2 weeks. Doesn't matter because they misses the Bulldogs game. They tick that one off anyway for me.
No, but you have to be able to walk in with an argument that has a chance of winning.
Mate, seriously, I see that exact instance 30 times a week.
You're not allowed to do that.
I know you're not allowed to do that.
I agree.
Jared.
We showed last night a far worse one, which never even saw the light of day.
There'll be 15 blokes reported this week if they happy
so
with
they've
that.
lowered the threshold. But when you walk into the tribunal,
it's round 16, Jared. Why are we lowering thresholds?
Yeah, we've had a couple of rogues throughout the year.
What about this rogue over here?
Adelaide.
Jared, Corns. What about Corns? He falls over. He could play for Brazil, seriously.
He
does go down pretty quick,
He
Corns.
can play down back for Brazil at the moment. They're looking for a couple of defenders.
He's good.
The Crows, they're back. They've got their clearance game going again. We saw this 2 years ago when they really threatened the competition. You know, Jacobs was at his best getting into Dangerfield. Well, that's a number one ruck comp in the competition the last 6 or 7 weeks. So when those two are firing, they're in good shape. Sloane's back in town. Thompson, who started the year pretty slow, has really got going now. And they're number 2 in the competition scoring from clearances. And I think they're a real threat.
They finished well. Look at the last 5 games.
I mean, their run's pretty tough. They've got 3 of the top 8 sides in the next few weeks. You can see there the Hawks on Friday night's a ripping game for them now. But look, it's in their hands. If they win the games they should win and sneak one against the odds, they're in.
The Suns, can they eke out the last of the wins necessary to make sure they get there?
Do they have a forward line and do they have a defensive line of tools? Yes, they do. They've got both of those that play well in finals. They got Lynch, Day, Thompson down back, Dixon up forward, and Smith in the ruckers. Those sort of guys. And then you've got
Smith?
Oh, he's a good player. Bennell, Matera, Amira, Swallow, Prestia, and Jack Martin. I mean, that's enough talent for anybody in the history of the world, and they've got a few others around them as well. I think they'll make it, and I'll be rapt when they do.
North are going to run favourite in 6 of their last 7, and the only game they won't be walk-up starts favourites in, they still might very well win against Geelong at Etihad.
Oh, they've got a great draw. There's no excuses for the Kangaroos. Said that all year. This is their year. I'm disappointed they're not really challenging for the 4. You've got to put that on the table. They're a better team than where their ladder position has them right now, whether you like it or not. But a couple of players have really surprised me. The last couple of weeks, Drew, he's kicked 9 goals. He's top 5 in the comp for score involvements the last 5 weeks. So even though he hasn't always been doing it, he's been important for them. And Michael Ferrito, who I thought was gone for all money at the start of the year, and probably questioned why he played on, has become a really critical part of their back 6 now.
Is he what?
It's in good form.
Yeah.
How vulnerable is Collingwood?
Extremely. Got a poor back line. Their defence is not settled. They'll have to bring Maxwell back in this week. Lockie Keith's in trouble with the tools. I think their forward line, if Klug doesn't kick a score, they can't kick one. Elliott's out. They got some drama. And if their midfield doesn't fire, they cannot win any game. So they got a big draw in front of them here. It's not an easy run for them at all when you have a look at their stuff. And they play Hawthorn in the last game. They've also got West Coast over at West Coast. They got Port Adelaide. They got Adelaide. And they got Essendon. Have a nice day.
Geelong is lurking.
Nice day.
They just keep lurking, the Cats.
Yeah, look, the Cats are a funny one for me. They're lurking. That is all they're doing. Their clearance game is shot. Worst in the competition the last 7 weeks. And their brand the last few years has been that turnover game. Win it back and go at pace. That's shot as well. The last 8 weeks, they're just mid-table. So for me, they need to discover themselves again. Now, whether that means spin the magnets a little bit, whether that means challenge some of the senior players. For me, that's the subplot for the last sort of 6 or 7 weeks, is watching Enright and watching Bartel. Are they going to still be the players we think they are in the last part of the year? Because decisions will come at the end of the year, and I've got no doubt there's question marks next to those two.
The Dockers are just trucking along to 14-4, and then we'll start to assess them late.
Steady.
They couldn't be better locked.
Steady, reliable, predictable, number 2. No drama for mine. They'll finish top 2.
Done.
Port Adelaide?
Not a lot wrong with Port. There really isn't a lot wrong. You know, everyone's sort of jumping off on them at the moment. They've lost by 2 points, 4 points, 7 points, and the showdown by 23, which got away from them late. They've been fantastic. There's, as I say, not a lot wrong. I hope they have a really good next patch and finish top 4, because this is the way I want every team to play. I want everyone to play with this speed. I'll go and watch a Port game before any other game at the moment, because I know what I'm going to get. It's going to be exciting. Their crunch games are round 20 versus Sydney at home, and then round 23 versus Fremantle at Patterson's. If they can find a way to get those 2 done, they are as good a chance as anyone.
Is the toll starting to tell on Hawthorn?
Injured, written off. Can't win this is one of the things that people are saying to them. Got the toughest run in. It's music to their ears. When the champs, that's when you want to see the champs at their best. And I think they're if you heard Jordan last night, he was championing the bit to get hold of it and get going. And that's the sort of club they are. And if they pull this one off, they are the greatest team of all.
Are you as bullish as Sellers?
No. No, I'm not. I just think they've had the year that they'll look back on and say, we never really got running. We never really had our full 22 together for any sustained period. It's easy in hindsight, but you've got to sort of project forward and look back, and I think that's what they'll say.
And the Sydney Swans, who just seem to have reached the right place, and good luck displacing them.
Something would have to go wrong, wouldn't it? Something would have to go wrong for me for them not to win it. They've been unbeaten for 3 months. Tippett, Hanbury and Reece Shaw to come back in. I mean, they're just going to get stronger. You know, they've shown you the model. They really have. You know, they've had the Moneyball type picks in years gone by, and they've said, hang on, that's working to a point. Now we go bang bang with Tippett and Franklin 2 years in a row. For me, something would have to go horribly wrong for them not to win it.
I know some people who are heavily financially invested in the Swans for the flag.
You're not allowed to give up on those people, you know that.
It's just one of those things you were telling Sellers about before.
I didn't mention any names.
No.
Well, I'm not mentioning my source either.
So are the Swans locked for you?
I think the Swans are going to win it.
Yes.
Do you?
Yeah.
Are you invested?
Yeah. I'm not invested. Are you invested?
No.
I don't really bet on footy.
I don't bet on footy.
I'll talk about the exciting team. I don't mind watching the Swans play.
There's no corruption.
Yeah, I think it's a different game the Swans play. I think Port are the most attractive team to watch right now.
All right. We'll put all of that on record and use it against you as
Thank
the
you
last
very much,
7 weeks unfold. Mark McClure and David King. Tomorrow night on AFL 360, Brenton Sanderson will join us ahead of what's a season-shaping night for the Crows. And Craig Bellamy's going to come in and play the weekend forecast with us. He is a coach from another code who has an influence in AFL circles.
We're out of time in the grand final. Hawthorn, their 7th premiership. It looks like it's all over. The dream of back-to-back pennants is all but there as far as the Hawks are concerned. There's the siren. Hawthorn have won it by 6 points.
And on Saturday night, the Hawthorn community will pause to mark the silver anniversary of those back-to-back flags. 25 years. Gary Ayres, welcome.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks for having us.
Make you feel just a little bit old.
Yeah, it does when you're actually talking about 25 years, mate. It's a long, long time ago. So we had a 30-year reunion last year after the 1983. But they're all great memories, and I think each time we get together, we just tell each other how good we are, and we're probably better now than what we were back then.
Yeah, well, you haven't lost your hair, have you?
Well, thank you.
It's gone a bit colourful. It's gone a bit colourful, but it was always pretty thick. We've got Dunstall coming up later, so I won't bring up hair with him. But you used to have a really thick hair, and well done. You still got it.
Appreciate it, mate. If you want some, I can potentially look at giving you some, mate.
There's an extra element to the night. A new Hawthorn legend will be elevated. You're one of the eligibles, Gary, and this is the list to choose from. Ayres, Brereton, Buckenara, DiPierre Domenico, Dunstall, Langford, Mew, Platten and Jeans. We've done a bit of a poll around those who would know, and the gut feeling is that it would either be Jace or Yabby.
Yeah, I think you're probably on the money there too, Jared, and I would have thought emotionally because of what Alan was able to do for the Hawthorn Footy Club, and I guess the fact that he was sick at the end of 1987, and of course Joycey stepped in and did a job, and then Jeansy came back at the start of 88, 89, and we went on and achieved back-to-back flags. So yeah, emotionally you'd probably say Alan Jeans, I would have thought. Jason Dunstall's with us. He's out on the set of Bounce, about to go next. Jace, thanks for arriving a little bit early.
Always a pleasure, Jared. And Robbo, I wouldn't have thought hair was your preferred topic of discourse, but great to see Ayresy alongside you.
Are you a bit... It could be you, Jace, or it could be Yabby. Would you like to see it be Yabby in a way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would sit a little uncomfortably with me, I must say. Yabby was the greatest influence on me personally, not just as a coach, but just also as that father figure type of character that he was. So, look, I think it'd be brilliant. But all those players there that are eligible had fantastic careers and all deserve the right kudos in due course, I would have thought.
Does a great players make a team, or does a great coach make a great team, Jason?
Well, Airsy's been on both sides of the ledger. I haven't, but Yabby always said, Airsy, that you haven't really coached until you've coached the bottom side, didn't he?
Yeah, that's true, Jason. I think probably the players will always make the coaches. That's what I've found out over the last probably 20 years. And we had some wonderful players, and I think a lot of those players could actually inspire one another to greater deeds, and no better opportunity to do it than in a grand final. And Jace was just certainly one of the greatest full forwards that's ever played the game. And you throw in Brereton and Chris Mew and Chris Langford, and even too Johnny Platten as well as a little rover who came across from South Australia. So we certainly had some great players amongst that fantastic era.
Because the two games are so different, Jace, when's the last time you watched the 88 grand final?
I couldn't tell you. Yeah. I couldn't tell you. Many years ago. But having said that, I do love the modern game as well. I mean, it's very different. As you say, it is two very different games, but that was just Ayresy doing what he does best. As Yabby always said, a great driver in heavy traffic. But there were all sorts of characters in that side.
Quiet, Jace. I want to talk to the Norm Smith medalist, if that's OK.
Go if you like,
88 and 86 here, Gary, and everyone said you were a good driver in heavy traffic. Everyone looks back on the 89 grand final. Do you guys, both of you, do you look back on it like we do from the outside and say it was tough, it was a great game, it was high scoring, it was quick footy? Do you look at it like that, or do you just think back and say, God, we were good that day?
Oh, we're obviously great for really the last two games, 88 and 89, really, Robbo. And I think really it was probably, for me personally, more of a relief because it was something that Alan had really pushed right throughout the course of 89 season, was to be the first team that could ever achieve back-to-back. And it was brutal. There was a lot of guys that were obviously injured, and a lot of chaps had to actually stand up on that one day. And, the catch cry really was from Alan Jeans was pay the price, and just so many of us did. And, yeah, certainly at this point in time, we're still the only two sides to go back to back.
Hey, Jace, Jared asked you before about 88. When's the last time you watched 89?
I haven't seen either of those for ages, Robbo, to be brutally honest. But just echoing what Ayresy was saying, I think we knew we were a good side. It would have been more disappointment than anything else if we didn't do what it took to get the job done.
So if 89 is on the telly, just by chance in your fleet, would you stop and watch it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and Jace?
Yeah. The hairs on the back of the neck still stand up because of what you knew you were able to achieve, and certainly you can sit there in a less pressured environment, certainly.
Jason, we saw a lot of brutal acts that day. Did you get anyone that day, or did anyone get you?
I wasn't very good at getting anyone in those days, Robert. I was more concerned about the back of my own head. But no, in 88 there wasn't much of that at all. In 89 it was pretty much all around me, but didn't directly involve me, which is nice.
What about you, Izzy? I think I can recall you being in a few scraps that day in 89.
Yeah, I actually gave Gary Ablett one.
Yeah, the big hip and shoulder.
Fairly early on, yeah. So probably if I'd have done that, he might have kicked 10, and of course they could have.
That was a good hit, that, wasn't it? Or no, it was a fair hit.
Certainly tried pretty hard, Rob, I can tell you that. But he was a gun, as we know, and a superstar of the game. So
what's the connection like, Jace, between the members of these two teams? Is it everything that we always imagined it would be?
Oh, absolutely. It's an unbreakable bond. Look, a lot of the players you won't have seen for a long time because everyone goes off in their own directions, different walks of life, families, jobs, all those sorts of things. But, gee, it's fun when you get them together.
Same for you, Gary?
Oh, most definitely. And of course, it's just such a wonderful achievement, and we really enjoy one another's company, and it will certainly be a great night on Saturday night. And not for the fact that obviously it's an appreciation of something that was achieved such a long time ago, but just the fact that we can get around one another and have a few beers and really enjoy the night.
Did they get you to stand up, Easy, and say there was the Plattons and the Dunstals and the Brantons?
Well,
and
Robbo,
the
that
Mews?
was only from a coaching point of view, mate, so not as a playing day, mate. But I can say the Waitleys and the Robinson and the Hudsons, if you like.
Jace, we'll see you in about 2 minutes.
A pleasure, Jared.
Hey, Gary, thanks for coming by, and enjoy Saturday night as all those memories will flow.
It's a pleasure, guys. Thanks, Easy.
Okay, so you can still be part of it, Hawthorn fans. Tickets still for sale on the Hawthorn website. The silver anniversary of 88 and 89. Fight night tomorrow night.
Okay,
Cameron Mooney and Barry Hall.
Awake on my airplane, my side bottom, McClure, tagged Ablett first half, Young, these hands, bizarre, Young.
Herschel Gibbs just dropped a sitter.
McClure in the pocket, didn't go for goal, he's got a loose player in Young, he's dropped the mark, he's dropped it 35 out, goes back and picks it up, hand pass off to a teammate who has a shot from the backside, with his backside hits the ground in beams.
Great hand pass to side bottom. He hand passes to McClure in the pocket. Doesn't go for goal. Straightens it up or kicked it straight to Young, who dropped the mark he should have taken. He regathers, gets a hand pass clear. Now a snap on goal for the Magpies is a minor. But Clinton Young dropped an elementary under 12s mark. 35 out directly in front.
McClure, tight angle. He wants to do the centering kick. It's a beauty. Oh no! Was built back by Young. He's still on his left side. He gives it back around the body. Shot a goal. He's missed.
He's played well, but he dropped the sitter.
Had the big bandage on. Maybe it slipped
over his eyes.
I don't know what happened there for Clinton Young.
Oh, wouldn't he like it?
I felt sorry for him.
Yes, who would you rather be? Brought to you by Gatorade. Robbo,
Yes.
Little Gaz or Neymar? Nations have watched on through injury.
Gaz?
That's a very parochial view, isn't it?
I don't know the other bloke. I don't know him. I don't watch soccer that much.
They did get beaten 7-1.
I take
so
his
I'm with
money.
you.
Oh, we'll go Gaz. Who would you be, Jared? Brian Lake or Brian Harris?
No, Premiership and a Norm Smith's the tiebreaker there.
What about the
No,
string
I can live with that, with the Premiership.
So you're
and
an animal.
Norms.
Deep down, you're an animal.
It's Brian Lake for me.
Brian Lake.
All right,
You're an
dismissed.
animal, Jared.
Let's head back to
Bloody
Jason
animal.
Dunstall on bounce.